Healing was the warm-up. This is the main fucking event. Welcome to Go Regulate Yourself, the unapologetic, unfiltered love letter you didn't know you needed. This is where mental health meets real life, where growth gets gritty, and where we stop pretending healing makes us saints. Think of it like therapy with tequila shots and a side of tough love. In this space, we're learning how to take responsibility for our shit, face the chaos of life, and become the best version of who we are. So if you're ready for your weekly what the fuck am I doing moment, let's dive in. Hello, Reg Babes, and welcome back to a brand new episode on the Go Regulate Yourself podcast. My name is Brianne, I am your host, and today we are chatting about the decision to not have children and why I have decided this for my own life, and also why I am leaning into that identity so heavily, and why it might trigger the fuck out of some people. So without further ado, let's dive on it. The decision to not have children is not something new for me in my life, though it might be something for you that you are newly navigating and or exploring. And so I want to start this off and preface this by saying, if the words that I say today, the opinion that I hold, the perspective that I hold triggers you, this is something for you to look internally at. There is no reason why the choice that I have made for my own life, the opinion that I hold, or the perspective that I hold in this regard should trigger you or impact your life in any way. The truth of the matter is that it does not. And you believing that it does, or you feeling upset or triggered by the words that I'm about to say today, is an opportunity for you to maybe explore why that is in your own life, in your own decision-making process, in the choices that you have made for yourself. This might be a perfect time to explore some of those things, the beliefs behind them, and what you believe, my opinion, and what I decided says about you and your life. So let's go. Like I said, have not recently decided to not have children. This has been something that I decided years ago. And in fact, I do believe that this was subconsciously programmed within me when I was sexually abused by my biological father at the age of 9. I've seen the world in the traumas that I've experienced and the things that I've been through from a very dark lens for most of my life. There have been some really shitty circumstances and situations that I have found myself in that I have had to overcome that has given me a completely different perspective on life than what a lot of people hold. And I do believe from a very early age, I registered the danger and the darkness of what this life can contain. And I recognized that I didn't want to have to take responsibility for anybody else in regards to their life plan, their life path, and helping them make it through and get out alive. Because, realistically, I am having a difficult enough time navigating life on my own. The last thing I need is a little person that realistically would be a mini version of me that I would also have to help navigate through this time. 100% not a thing I was interested in. So I really knew from a young age that children were not for me. And despite the conditioning and programming of my family and a lot of our society that taught me that women are here to bear children and take care of the household and really be that feminine matriarch, that anchor to what a family unit was, this is something that was taught to me by so many people, so many things, media sources, you name it. And it really became something that I almost wanted to rebel against in the early ages, where I knew that I didn't want to have children. Everybody on this planet was telling me that I needed to have children in order to be worthy, in order to have a legacy, in order to do so many things. And I disagreed with that on such a deep level that I really kind of subconsciously rebelled against this in the actions that I took. And I knew deep, 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 deep down inside of me that there was more meant for me in my life than just being a mother. And I say these words because this is my personal perspective and opinion. I don't believe that children are going to give me anything in this life that I can't get myself. I have zero desire to bear children or to bring a little thing into this planet that I have to be responsible for and give up parts of myself for the rest of my life. It absolutely 100% is a big no for me. And this is not me looking at any of your lives if you have children saying that you're just a mother. That is absolutely 100% not the words coming out of my mouth. And if you interpret it in that way, again, I recommend looking at why you are taking it from that perspective. I think that mothers are incredible human beings. I think that they have a lot of responsibility. I think that they give up so many parts of themselves in everything that they do, and it's hard fucking work. I couldn't even imagine being a mother and being responsible for somebody else. A little being that's exactly like me, hell fucking no. Zero desire for it. But for me, I didn't want to be a mother in any capacity or path that my life was going to take. That was not something that I wanted, desired, or frankly needed for this life and what I am here to do, the life that I am meant to live. So, deciding this from a really young age, I started to rebel against this in many different actions that I took. And I can look back on my life and be like, oh, yeah, like when people would say things or, try to push me down a particular path, it was like me digging in my heels and being like, hell freaking no, I'm not doing that. So when I got together with my now husband, as I've shared in a previous podcast episode, if you haven't listened to the episode about what makes or breaks a marriage, I highly recommend that you go and do so because I share in there about the age difference between my husband and I, 18 and a half years, and really what a large percentage of our relationship looks like. What I didn't share in that episode was that when we got together, my husband had already had a vasectomy. He already knew that he was not going to have kids again. He already has two. And that baby train was shut down and no longer going to continue moving forward. So for me, when I got together with him, it was almost like a sigh of relief. Like, here I am meeting a partner that, of course, when we first got together, it wasn't an indication that we were going to be married, though I very much felt that in my heart that this was my person. We didn't really have any facts that we were going to be together and that was going to be a long-term path. And so there was this really big sense of relief that when I found that out of, oh my gosh, here I am with somebody that I'm feeling really connected to that is making the choice for their life not to continue to have kids, and I don't want to have kids. What a perfect fit. There's no pressure, there's no force, there's no what if. It felt really easy for me to relax into that. And my husband will tell you when we first got together for those first years and before he proposed, or even for the year after he proposed, he was very worried that I was going to change my mind. What if you decide down the road that you do want kids or you do want to have this life experience? And I knew in every fiber of my being that that was not going to be something that I changed my mind on. But I did have to, in a way, kind of hold my ground and convince him that this was not going to be something that I decided differently tomorrow. And I think for honestly a large percentage of women who know without a doubt that children are not for them, they feel this deep, deep, deep down inside of their body. They know that that is not meant to be a part of their life path. And quite frankly, it can be quite frustrating when other people around you don't understand that and or hold the beliefs or expectations that that is part of what a woman does, or that you really haven't experienced womanhood until you have born a child and brought them into your womb and into the world. And truthfully, I don't think this just resonates for women who have made the decision not to have children, but also for the women that have fertility issues and are unable to do that. There is a questioning of womanhood, whether or not you truly are a woman, a matriarch in your life because you have chosen not to or do not have the ability to do this. And quite frankly, that pisses me the fuck off. There is so much more to being a woman, so much more to the power, the femininity that we hold than just having children. And I fully express this, especially now in my life in the last few years. I'm fully expressing what that womanhood looks like and feels like in every area of my life because despite the fact that, I guess you can say, I have chosen not to have kids. So, when I was in my teenage years, early adult years, even the last 10 years of my life, I'm 33 now at the time of this recording, I can look back and see so many moments of my life where people have said and or done things to indicate that maybe I don't know what I'm talking about or that I'm gonna change my mind, etcetera. Comments like, literally, "Oh, you'll change your mind, you'll come around, you'll realize that children are incredible, create space for this, don't knock it till you try it." There's been so many things that have been said to me over the years, and every single time, it irritates me to no end because I'm almost feeling like people are trying to convince me that I don't know what my own intuition is saying, what is in alignment for me in my life, and that I somehow have to act and or operate the same way that they are in their life in order to be worthy, and I just won't stand for that. There is more to life, more to being a woman than just having kids. And if that's the life plan that you have chosen for yourself, all the power to you. That's incredible. I'm so happy and so proud of you for making that decision for yourself. But I can also tell you that I've talked to so many women who were unsure about having kids, had them, and deeply regretted it. Wishes, that they had not had kids or feels like they were pressured or pushed into becoming a mother and had to give up large percentage of their identity, their passions, their purpose, their careers, and so much more. And I don't think starting a family or having kids in the wrong energy or just because you are a woman is the right thing to do. And in fact, I think it's actually probably the worst thing that you can do. If you are not 100% certain that you want to devote your life to a little being, to raise them, to take responsibility for them, to care for them, to bring them up in this world, if you are not in the right headspace, if you do not have the right intention behind that, that is a bad energy to move into with having kids. You need to be 100% certain. This isn't just a hobby that you dabble in. It's not like taking up crocheting for a weekend. This is something you need to be 100% certain on in order to do the best for them and the best for you. And so, when I have been broached with these conversations, or people have had statements or things to say, opinions that are going to change my mind, they think, anyways, my response has been and will continue to be I would rather regret not having children than regret having them. And I know that I would regret having them 100%. Not only the fact that I've known this from such an early age and, the darkness of the world and taking responsibility for another person is something that I know I do not want. The other part of it is I am finally moving into an era at 33 years old where I am unapologetically stepping into my selfish era where I am deciding that this life is for me. It's meant to be lived for me. I've spent the last 32 years of my life people pleasing, showing up for others, bending over backwards, biting my tongue, never speaking my truth, having horrible boundaries, never saying no. The list goes on and on. I have lived my life up until this point for everybody else and not for myself. And I truthfully am refusing to do that for even a second longer in this lifetime. I am going to be fucking selfish and I am going to live this life for me. I'm going to spend my money on me. I'm going to travel this world. I'm going to have time freedom. I'm going to do what I want when I want, and it's going to be fucking delicious. I have zero desire to wake up for an alarm, let alone to wake up for another human being. I have zero desire to have my schedule be depicted by somebody else outside of myself. I am very OCD and anal about having a clean home environment. The last thing that I want to do is step on a fucking Lego or trip over a toy or have to wipe up crumbs consistently every single fucking day. I remember one time a friend of mine had a baby that was eating spaghetti, and that spaghetti was everywhere. All over their face, their chair, the floor, everything was covered in spaghetti. And I literally had an internal panic attack about how fucking messy that was. And there are so many moments like this that has solidified having children is not for me. It's not about learning to be more forgiving because fuck that, I don't need to be more forgiving in these areas. This is my standards. These are my boundaries. This is how I operate. And I want to be able to jump on a plane whenever I want. I want to be able to live out of a suitcase and move from here to there. I want to be able to connect deeply to my people, have a wide open schedule, and really determine what direction my life is going to go. Not to mention, I don't want to pour 18 plus years of my own finances into somebody else. I desire to have a big, bold, beautiful life that looks completely different than 95% of other people out there. Children have just never and will never be a part of my life plan. And again, this is no shade on anyone who's decided to have kids. That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. I think it's incredible that you've chosen something to do something that you deeply care about, to raise another human being, to bring more life into this world. That's fucking cool. That's a cool fucking thing that you should be very proud of. But at the same time, or I guess I should say, you are doing something really cool. And at the same time, I want no fucking part of that. Right? This is two truths existing at one time. Instead of a but, this is an and. I think it's beautiful what you're doing, and I do not desire any part of that for my life. I think that you are so incredibly happy with your children, and that's amazing. And it gives me fucking anxiety looking at the mess, tripping over the toys, hearing the freaking noise that kids make all the time. I don't want that. I don't desire that. And I will consider myself to be as selfish as you want to say I am for having those beliefs and believing the things that I do. And in fact, I don't think it's selfish. Honestly, truthfully, if I'm looking at it from a greater scope, I think that the most selfless thing that I can do is not have children because I know that I would regret it. I would have so much resentment and anger. I would be completely divided from who I actually am, and I would not be serving anybody positively in this life. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't hate all kids. I mean, I definitely don't desire to be around a lot of little kids. It just ain't for me. But for my friends and my family that have little ones, I do love to interact and play with my nieces and my nephews and be able to read stories and have those little cuddles when they do happen. I love those little bursts and those moments. And I also love being able to pass them back to their parents when they start crying or when they need a diaper change or when they're hungry. I don't want to be responsible for any of that. I want to be the cool auntie that gets to give gifts and love and laugh and be creative and play and act like I'm also a child without actually having any of the responsibility of it. And that is why being an auntie is a perfect role for me. I have zero of the responsibility, and I like it that way. And I do not feel apologetic for believing that or feeling that about my life. And I really hope that this is going to connect me with other women who are very much in the same mind frame or feeling the same way. This shouldn't be offensive to anybody for me thinking and feeling this way because it is my own truth, it's my own opinion, it's my own perspective, it's my own experience. And what you are doing in your own life, how you are living, the connections that you have to your family and your own kids, they shouldn't be changed or doubted or impacted in any way from me believing the things that I am believing for my own life. Again, I think it's a beautiful thing that you've made this decision for yourself, and I don't want any part of it. So this is just a little bit of an inside look in towards having that decision to not have kids, what that has looked like for me in my life, and ultimately what I am excited about creating and really calling in for my life moving forward, because there's so much possibility for it. And it's really exciting to not have any limitations on it, no barriers, no restrictions of any shape or form. The only person that I am responsible for is myself, and that is the way that I like it. So I hope this helps you to open your eyes to the perspective of not having children, why I feel the way that I feel, and hopefully open up a greater conversation in relation to living a child-free life. Whether that is something by choice or ultimately that is something that perhaps there wasn't a choice in the matter for you, and it's something that you've had to wrap your head around, get more comfortable with, or figure out a different way of embracing your womanhood and your femininity alongside of that life challenge or that life journey. So that's just a little bit of a tidbit for today. I hope you guys resonated with this episode. And at the time of this dropping to you, I am currently in the progression of moving from Canada to Asia for a little bit of a vacation. So I will be back to recording as we go once I am settled overseas. And I'm excited to see what we're going to kind of dig up in terms of episodes that will be coming to you, the things that will come through. Travel always provides a really cool perspective for me. That silence really helps me to uncover some greatness. So I can't wait to share with you guys as I move forward, as I travel, what I'm seeing, what's going on, and some of the perspectives that offers as well. So I will catch you in Asia in the very near future, and I cannot wait to talk to you for the next episode. Remember to go regulate yourself, and I will chat with you soon. Mwah. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Go Regulate Yourself podcast. If you felt called out in the best way, I would be so honored if you drop below and leave a review or share this with a friend who needs to hear it too. And remember, regulate yourself before you wreck yourself. I'll catch you in the next episode. Mwah.